It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and that's what I be. But here with you, DJ Stutz here with Little Hearts Academy and Imperfect Heroes podcast, and it's a glasses kind of day. Really windy today, but the weather is nice. We're in the 70s, and it gets down into the 40s at night, so it's just perfect and beautiful, and I'm loving my life. And so I hope that you guys are all feeling the same thing too. So before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that we're all working hard and getting prepared for our next big challenge. It's not going to happen until November 13th, but we're starting to get things rolling and planning. So it's going to be a 5-day challenge on service. What a great way to start the holiday season, right? And so it's going to start on November 13th, like I said. And if you want to go ahead and register so that you're already a part of it, we've got that up on the website. And that's the www.littleheartsacademyusa.com. And so if you want to go ahead and get registered for it, that is fine. It's not too early. It's all ready to go on the website. So that'll be fun. But we won't actually start the challenge, of course, until November 13th, and it goes through the 17th. But what a fun way to start your holiday, holiday season, but in the spirit of service. And what a great opportunity it is to, oh my goodness, what is going on with my hiccups? What a great opportunity it is to bring the kids in and get them involved. And one of the things I love to do, and so now that we're getting started on this, you're going to hear this story probably more than once, but I love in the holidays to ask kids, so what do you want to give for Christmas? And they usually will just start telling me all the things they want to get. And I'll say, oh, so who are you going to give those things to? And they'll look at me like, what, lady? And I'll say, no, I asked you, what do you want to give? Not what do you want to get? And they'll look at me like I've got three heads. Like, what are you talking about? And so when we get our kids in the spirit of giving and of having fun and of doing service for other people, hey, Nephi, it's so good to see you. And so when we get them in that spirit, that's something that's going to carry them on throughout their life. Think of the relationships that they're going to have that are going to be enhanced. Their marriages are going to be stronger because they are thinking of service and being of service to their spouse, being of service to their kids and their employers and their neighbors. And isn't that a little bit of what we need these days? I think so. So I would love to get us going. So we're starting in on that and getting all of those pieces in place. But if you want to pre-register, you can now on the website. And it already says 5 days of service, and you can go ahead and of course it's free. I never charge for these kinds of things. These are fun. So anyway, all right. So this week we are talking about books and how do you find the right book for your kids to keep them engaged. And we're also talking about how to find books that will inspire your kids, and books of faith and books of learning and craft ideas and all of these kinds of things. So my guest this week on the podcast, her name is Terrie Sizemore, and here's the fun fact for you. She is the publisher of my new book that is coming out soon. We thought we were going to get it out sooner, but when we got our first, your first copy from the printer, the yellow they used was like not showing up. It was kind of weird. So we had to send it back and have them reprint, and then they'll send us another, author's copy to make sure that it's all looking right. And so if that's okay, then we'll go ahead and have them start printing the book. So it's going to be available on Amazon. It's also going to be available on my website, and it's called Roman is Bigger. And it's about a little boy who just has these really big feelings. And so just to say, I'm happy. No, I'm bigger than happy. How does he express that? No, I'm bigger than mad. I'm, furious, right? And so he's learning these words to better express how he's feeling to others so they understand how he's feeling. And then he feels better when he has the right words to truly express how he's feeling. And so it's just a fun little story. It's great. And of course, I love it, but we'll see if you love it. So it'll be available soon on the website and on Amazon. And so I'll let you know once we get all the things worked out with our printer and get going. So Terrie is actually the publisher of my book. So she has a lot of, oh, crap, I forgot. I was going to bring her books in and show her. You'll have to catch the Instagram one. I do at 7:30. I do an Instagram live. So on my Imperfect Heroes podcast page there. So I'll have to grab the books and go and use them for the Instagram one. Oh, what a dork. But she's got some great books out. She's got one book called Love Letters from God. And what I really like about that one is it's not a book to be all read all in one thing. It's something that you can read in the morning or even in the evening. You read a page, it's got a scripture and some thoughts to go with it. And then it has a song, a Christian song for you to Google to go with the scripture and the spiritual thought that goes with it. What a fun thing to do. And it's got enough to get you through a month of fun spiritual thoughts and music and stuff to inspire. She also, we talked about how, you know, uh, books are so important to kids and it helps them to learn to express themselves. They learn to read, they learn to enhance their interests. And so, with her publishing company, they've got books about animals and science, and they've got stories, just fun stories, and stories about understanding who you are and understanding about society and your neighbors and just all of those fun things. There's one of the books that she has about this little kitten who has her mittens, right? And she loves her little red mittens. And, but she has a whole ton of mittens, right? A whole basket, big basket, as big as she is, full of mittens. But she loves her red mittens and she wears them everywhere. And so they were getting washed and they were on the line and they get blown away. And she's lost her mittens. And she's looking all over for mittens. She can't find her mittens. She's heartbroken. But then as she's going around, she notices other little kittens who don't have any mittens and, to wear and to feel comfortable and warm in. So she decides to go home and get her ginormous basket full of mittens and she starts sharing them with her neighbors and her cousins and even kittens she doesn't know, but she sees that they don't have mittens until all her mittens are gone. And now she finds joy in seeing all the little kittens in her community wearing mittens that she knows that she gave them and how they keep them warm. So, I mean, all kinds of stories that are like that. And so she's got books about the ocean and about space, and they're just a lot of fun. But one of the things that we talked about too is how to pick a book that your kids are going to get engaged in. So the younger your kids are, of course, your babies need fabric books or board books because you know what they're going to do with them, right? Right in the mouth, and they're going to put them in their mouth. And we want to be able to let them, because that's how babies investigate things. And so we want them to be able to investigate and feel it and kind of learn to turn pages. And babies are not going to turn pages one at a time. They're not going to start at the beginning of the book. And they might start at the back or in the middle or just wherever it opens, right? They like books that have texture to them. Those are great books for little teeny guys. So, at about 6 months, they're going to start playing with some of those books. There are even some plastic books, and they will have squeeze things. So They'll make a noise if they squeeze it, right? And so now you're learning with fine motor skills. Actually, that turning pages is a fine motor skills. Little guys don't have their finger coordination well enough to turn pages one by one. So the board books are thick enough that eventually, about when they're maybe 18 months up to two, they'll be able to start turning board books by a page at a time, um, but not pages. It's just too much of a fine motor skill to build those strong finger muscles, right? That I've talked about sometimes before. I don't know if you've heard me talk about them, but so really look at the age of your child and the interests of your child, right? So they're when they're little, they want bright colors. They want, even some books that might make sounds as you turn the pages. There's all kinds of things that are available now that weren't available, definitely when I was a kiddo. But even maybe when you as young parents, when you were kids, we've made so much progress in finding things that are developmentally appropriate and are there to help um, kids, grow and explore and all of those things and to do so more safely. So there's a lot more that's out there, but really pay attention. Then as they start getting into books with pages, right? Um, Recognize that again, they may not start at the beginning and they may turn more than one page at a time. And again, a lot of that's going to be, are they developing those fine motor skills? Are their fingers, you know, flexible enough and strong enough to only turn one page at a time? Because that's a skill that they're going to need to learn. And so you can work with them and practice with them. Please be very patient with them, right? So they're learning to, strengthen those muscles. And so we're going to help them through that. And so we can talk about this is the beginning of the book, but if they just want to turn pages quickly, that's okay. But one of the things you're going to notice just from that is they get bored really easily. And so if you have a book that has a lot of words on a page and you're reading to them, they're just going to say, yep, done with that, turn the page, right? We've all been there with that. Yeah, they just want to turn the page because there were too many words there. I'm lost, I'm done. Let's go to another page. So you're going to want to find a book that doesn't have too many words on a page, that the pages turn quickly, right? You want to find a book that has engaging pictures about things that they are interested in. If your kids are really into horses, a book about fish, what just isn't going to do it for them, right? Because that's just where they are. That's where their interests are. And so find things that are feeding into their interests. And so you might want to, if they're really into horses, find some, fictional stories about horses, but then also find some nonfiction stories that are talking about maybe the development of a horse or what horses eat or, how horses grow and live and what their life cycle is like and how do you take care of a horse. And so there are different things that they can learn through books of things that they're interested in and recognize that after 6 months maybe they're going to change to starfish or fairies and princesses or knights or Vikings or whatever it is. My 7-year-old grandson in Reno, he's Vikings now. It used to be China, now it's Vikings. And so, we do the Viking thing with him. So just kind of pay attention to where their interests are right now and then recognize that, yeah, it's going to change in time. And isn't that wonderful? So you're looking for things that don't have a lot of words on a page. The pages turn quickly. The pictures are colorful and engaging and are have elements of things that they like and they enjoy. Maybe holiday season. So, we've got Halloween coming up next month. And so Maybe they are going to be interested in Halloween books. Maybe they're a little scared of Halloween. And so maybe you want to help them so that they won't be scared out of their wits on the big day. And so start with some very benign, easy, fun Halloween stories, with some nice little happy pumpkins doing things, and, this little boy that goes trick or treating and has a wonderful time, and so you're engaging them and helping them to start thinking about things in a different way so that they're not really scared on those days. But you might also, some kids really get into that gore and maybe too far into that gore. And so maybe you want to pull it back and bring in some stories that have, you know, less gore and more fun. So, you have to gauge it with your kids and see what's going on. So that's another thing that you want to do. If you don't have a lot of money to just buy books and have your own library, well, there are several libraries that you can go to. So the school library will let you check out books. The public library lets you check out books. And so they have a lot of sharing libraries, lending libraries, neighborhood libraries. You'll see them somehow. There'll be like a little, uh, sometimes they look like a little house or a birdhouse almost, or sometimes they're in different kinds of containers, but you can see. And so you take a book and leave a book, right? And so you're sharing with the neighbors on books. There's so many different ways to get books if money is an issue. And so that's kind of a fun thing to do. So Terrie, we talked a little bit about her passions. She's had so many different engaging careers in her life. And so you'll have to listen in to hear on some of that. But faith has been a factor for her, for 50 years. She has just really lived in faith. And so she's got some great faith-based books in her publishing house and things that are available. And so all of her books are also available on Amazon, but they are also available on, oh gosh, now I'm going to have a hard time, and now I've got to have to look and see what was the name of it. Oh, Best Little Best Little Online Bookstore is where you can find her bookstore online, or you can just find her stuff on Amazon. Terrie Sizemore is where you'd find it on Amazon. But her own website is Best Little Online Bookstore. Woo! But she was saying too, and this is interesting, that if you order directly from her, um, it takes longer to get it than if you order it from Amazon. So the printers will print it faster and get it to that Amazon people faster than they will for her. Just something to think about if you want to think about that. And so, um, but all of her books, in her thing, she talks about wanting to have books that bless people, either intellectually, spiritually, or, learning how to read those simple books that engage kids and get them going on the learning path of reading. And so, it's a fun bookstore to work with, because they're all basically all new artists. And she or authors. And what's fun is she has artists from all over the world. So I didn't know. When I was talking to her originally about publishing my book, she said, "Well, let me send you some works of different authors, and you can tell me, who you like." Okay. So she sent me, I think, 5 or 6 different authors, and there was one and she said, "If you don't like any of these, that's fine. I've got more." But there was one that I really did like, and so I said, "Actually, I like this one." And so she says, "Yeah, I'll get a hold of her, see if she's available for you." And she was. And we're about halfway through the book, and I didn't really know anything. I knew her name, but that was it. And turns out, as I wanted to get more information on her, she is living in Poland, and she is a Ukrainian refugee. And so that just warmed my heart. And so we're trying to work it out now. So maybe I can do a podcast episode with Nadia, and we can share her story and engage with her in the work that she does to help take care of her family and make things work as she's going through an interesting time. So anyway, and then we also talked about how, there are other ways too to expand your child's education. And so you can go to a museum or an art museum or, cultural experiences and fairs and all of those things to enrich your child's experiences. And, there are books about all of these things that you can read to them ahead of time if they've never been to such a thing, and to help them understand what to expect in the experience. And so it's just really amazing and fun. And so I hope that, you'll really consider the books that you're using with your kids and your grandkids. That's one of the things. My grandma did it for me. She was an English teacher. And I've done it for my grandkids, is that they get a present. They also get a book from Nana and Poppy. I'm Nana. But they always get a book from Nana and Poppy at Christmas. And I love giving them books, and I love seeing them reading the ones. And I get with my kids and what are they into this month? Because I know it changes all the time. And so I try to get them books that are about the things that they're interested in. And so they'll actually take some time to really look at it and engage with it. And we've had a lot of fun with that. So I hope that you'll listen to the podcast. This is episode 117, I think, but it's the newest episode. If you go to the podcast website, which is so easy, it's just www.imperfectheroespodcast.com. And so it's just easy to come listen to the podcast and have some fun with that. And you know that I'm on Rumble now. Imperfect Heroes is the channel. And I'm on YouTube, and it's Little Hearts Academy USA is the channel there. But you can always just get the link on the website. And I've put it on Facebook and Instagram so many times. So I hope that you'll pop over and see what we're about. So it's so good to see you guys. And next week, I have such a good guest, and we're talking about chronically ill children and not only how to take care of them, but we know that the divorce rate is really high with families with chronically ill children. How do we manage with the other kids that are healthy? But a lot of our time is taken with that. How do we support these families? And it's just a great conversation. And my guest she's a pediatrician, and she has also had a chronically ill child who had cancer. She survived the cancer and then had type 1 diabetes. So, wow. So what a great episode for next week. And so until next week, let's find joy in parenting. See you guys. Thanks, Nephi. We'll talk to you later.